Aaliyah, you and Dorka had a double-doubles for the second consecutive night, and I think it was 48-8 points in the paint today. Can you just talk about how important the inside game has been during this tournament, and you guys turning it up there?
Yeah, it's been very important for us to kind of dominate the paint. I think that, Dorka, me, and Aubrey really did well on the boards and just converting down low. I think that our teammates did well finding us, and we were able to put the ball in. So I think that we just need to continue this for tomorrow and throughout March.
You're in the front row on the left.
Nika, Marquette coach Megan Duffy said in her opening statement she feels like she just met the UConn team from March. Do you feel like there is a difference in you guys if you just refocused and picked up the intensity or something, especially defensively?
Yeah, I feel like today's game pretty much felt like the games throughout the beginning of the season, the non-conference games. We definitely have a different edge to us when March comes, when, the games really matter. So I think our energy was great today, our defense was amazing, and we're just going to continue to keep that up because now every game matters.
We'll do Dom and then over behind JC.
Nika, how much was the last game against Marquette on your minds collectively or you individually today, and what was really the difference? I know that AZ and Caroline only played a few minutes today. It was basically the same people. What was the difference today from that game?
That game was definitely on our minds, especially me personally. Coming into this game, we knew that they're a physical team, they're disciplined, they're well coached. So we knew what we were up against. We play them twice a year. So it was on our minds, I'm not going to lie. I remember them celebrating after they won against us, and I feel like we brought that in our minds to us, with us to the game today, and it definitely showed. I feel like we punched them, they tried to punch us back, but we just kept punching throughout the whole game, and we won.
Way over here on the left.
Nika, the first two regular season games, Marquette pretty much controlled tempo. I think you guys scored 61 and 52. What was different today that you were able to play at a pace that you guys wanted and a tempo you guys wanted?
I feel like what was different today was that it's March, and it's not any other month in the year. It's just March, and Coach keeps emphasizing it in practice. We're a different team in March, and we highly believe it, and we believe in ourselves. And today's energy, today's edge that we brought was amazing. I'm very proud of my team, and as I said, we're just going to keep bringing it, doing more and more.
Tim here in the front.
For either one of you, Marquette went on an 8-0 run to cut it down to 5 about halfway through the second quarter. From a player's perspective, what do you think really changed for you to go on the run that you went on to turn a 5-point game into a 15-point game heading into the locker room?
I think it just comes down to not letting up. We knew they could go on their run, but we knew that we were in control of the game, and we let them have their punch. But as Nika said, we just punched back, and going back to just being more disciplined on defense, I think that we just locked in defensively, tried to disrupt them in their offensive flow so it can turn into our transition points.
Anything? Here we go in the back left. We'll get the microphone over to you.
Nika, having 10 players available for you guys over these over these last two games, it was just the third time so you guys have had that all season. Just how re-energizing has that been for you guys? Just how much of a relief has that been to know that you guys are kind of more complete now?
It feels amazing knowing that you have people to come off the bench and just give you a little break. I feel like that's a huge relief for us, and I feel like people that have been playing for the most of the season have so much, what's that called? We build up our confidence and stamina and conditioning. So we just have so much energy, and I feel like that showed today. Now we can go all in. We don't have to save ourselves no bit. People can be aggressive. There's people that can come in for them if they foul too much. So it's amazing, and I feel like 10 players available at the right time.
Right here, the third row in the middle.
And Nika, we asked Aaliyah this yesterday. She won Most Improved Player in the Big East. Where do you see her biggest improvements this year from last year?
I mean, just in every field basketball-wise possible. points, rebounds, hustle plays. I mean, she has been this player the whole time. She just didn't show it. So I feel like she now has so much confidence. I see her in the gym working every day. She's the hardest worker. She's in the gym the most. She comes early, works every day on off days. So nothing surprising, nothing that nobody was expecting of her. We all knew that she was capable of doing all of this. And just her leadership, her vocal skills, everything. She's just a complete player, and I'm so proud of her that she's finally able to showcase it, and she's been huge for us, especially tonight.
Anything else for the athletes? One more over here, Dom. Get the mic over to you. Coming from your left.
Nika, I don't know if you were asked this earlier before, but a couple of weeks ago, Tristan Newton had 12 assists in a game, and one of his teammates commented he was playing like Nika Mühl. I just wondered if you had heard that and what you thought of that, if you know Tristan, what your reaction was to that.
Yeah, it was a really nice compliment. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I wish them all the good luck in their tournament.
Great, ladies. Thank you very much. We'll let you go.
Thank you.
Raise your hands. We'll do questions for Coach. We'll start right there, and we'll move the microphone.
Geno, less than a month ago, you guys, lost to Marquette on the road in a game where you said the fatigue of the season really, had caught up to you guys. To have this, dominant wire-to-wire, victory over that same opponent today, and just how re-energized you guys have looked over these last two games. Just how different of a spot is your team in now than it was at that point in February when you lost to Marquette?
That was probably the lowest point of our season. Those couple of days leading up to the Marquette game, you could see, it was difficult. The energy level that we normally have, and it starts with Nika, and she didn't have it. So those 2 days leading up to Marquette, Monday and Tuesday, there wasn't that normal fire in her, and the rest of the team, they felt it as well. And when the game got off to a pretty good start for us, and we thought, well, hopefully this will be an easy game and we won't have to grind it out, and played 40 minutes of, physical basketball after what we'd just been through with South Carolina. And when the game turned into that, I think we were shot. But that's on the road in February. So there's games in February, there's games in January, and then there's games in March. And, I don't get too excited about games in February. I worry more about, are we getting better so that we can be really good in March? And that's kind of been the philosophy around here for a lot of years. We put together a schedule that will guarantee that we lose. And some years, we don't. But it's not because, we didn't schedule teams to lose. So you get to March, it's not the same. That's all there is to it. It's not the same. Playing a regular season game in February, that's one thing. Playing a tournament game in March, that's a whole different mindset that you have to have. you almost have to have two kinds of teams on your team. Right on your own team, you have to have almost two kinds of teams. You have to have a regular season team, and then you have to have a tournament team.
Here in the front row, we'll work the microphone around there and a couple other questions.
Hey, Coach T. Baker with the Next FC today. Aubrey Griffin seemed to do everything for you today, scoring, rebounding, stealing. Can you just talk about how her playing like that changes the dynamic of your team?
No question. The big question always is, when is the next time we're going to see that over? And if it's tomorrow, then whoever we're playing is going to be in a tough spot. Because when Aubrey is like that, there really isn't much on the basketball court that she can't get accomplished. And she impacts the game at every level. And hopefully her confidence level is really high right now. I haven't talked to her about this specifically, but sometimes, when you have alternatives, and the kid knows, hey, look, if I struggle a little bit, I can come out, get my bearings, and then go back in. Whereas when we didn't have any options, she's out there on an island playing poorly, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. So I think her mind is in the right place right now, and if we can get that from her, the rest of this tournament and beyond, we're a completely different team. Completely different.
In the back row.
Geno, two strong performances in this tournament. It was just 6 days ago where you seemed to have some pretty deep concern for where things were headed, and some criticism of yourself, of your staff, of your team in general. Maybe you've already touched on this theme a little bit in your previous answer, but what's the difference? What's changed this week for you? Is it more than just recognizing the moment?
It's mostly that. It's each team is different. There have been times when we finished the regular season on a high, and go into the Big East Tournament, on a high, and we rolled right through it. I thought this past Monday, I guess I just needed to vent that I was tired of using the excuse of being tired. That the team was tired, that we're mentally fatigued, and we're physically fatigued, and we play too many minutes, and this and that. And I wanted to get that out there for the team, so that's it. That's the last time we're discussing that. That's the last time we're using that. And practices, even though we didn't have many of them, practices were a little bit different leading up to this tournament. We may have been guilty early, throughout the season, in that we're treating them like they're fragile, because they are. Every time somebody falls down in practice, you start to go, oh boy, there goes another one. I think after the Xavier game, we took a couple of days off, and when we came back, it was like, it's back to the old days. Going to the mattresses. Back to the old days.
Geno, a double-double for Nika, 400 career assists today. We always know how tough you are on your point guards, but how tough is Nika on you?
How tough is she on me? Not as much as freshman year and last year. I think them coming in on the bubble year was really, really difficult for everybody. And I can be tough on her because she wants that, she appreciates that, she responds to that. She is confident enough in who she is to tell me exactly where she is relative to me. This is what I think, she says. And I like our point guards to be like that because it's supposed to be a collaboration. It's not supposed to be I say this, you do that. You know, it's supposed to be this is what I want. Now you tell me how you're going to get it, and then you're going to tell me why you didn't get it or what we need to do different to get it. Not just say yes, yes, coach, yes, coach, yes, coach, yes, coach. She's not that, and I appreciate that about her. And each day she's becoming a little bit easier to coach. She's less hard on herself. So I've really enjoyed this year with Nika, and I hope we have a long run in the NCAA tournament because, you know, she's a feisty kid who never wants to stop fighting. She never wants to stop competing. She didn't have to have an offensive foul on that kid today at the bottom, underneath the basket. She already had the layup. But that was a classic Shea Ralph move. Drive here, I could just shoot a layup, but you know what? It won't be as much fun unless I whack this kid. There's just some people are like that. What can I tell you?
Dom over here on the left.
Geno, with all these qualities that you've talked about with Nika and the difference between March and other months, other games, is she maybe uniquely built for this? Is she made for that difference between March and the rest of the season?
Some people are. Some people are. Nika has more confidence than game. Like there's things that she thinks she can do on the basketball court that she can't do. But she doesn't know that and doesn't care. So her confidence level is I can do anything on that basketball court. And the bigger the game, the bigger the moment, the more pressure, doesn't faze her one bit. So if you have a leader like that on your team that does rub off on the rest of the players, you know, she's running out of the tunnel and you're following her. That's a pretty good person to follow into what's coming next.
Coach, you guys almost scored more in the paint today than Marquette did in total, and you had another dominant game in the paint yesterday. When you think about how much players are sticking to Lou Lopez, Shanae closer on the three-point line, other players in general, how important is it for your team to continue this dominance heading into March?
Well, we need one or the other, preferably both, right? So we either have to be a terrific three-point shooting team like we were in November. I think we were number one in the country for the longest time, November, December. I can't imagine we're still there now. And I said that we have to score more in the lane or it's going to catch up to us. And I think they're both related in a way that the threat of us scoring in the lane gives us more threes. And scoring in the lane allows us to play any way we want, actually. Because not every shot that Lou or AZ or Nika or anybody else takes now is life and death. We're going to get that rebound. We're going to get a bucket and a foul. So it just cleans up a lot of stuff when, and I explained it to the players, you know, everybody always talks about how important guards are in basketball, including me. You know, I always say, you can always play with 5 guards, but you can't play with 5 post players, right? And you see around the world, you know, the game is changing and people are playing more with, you know, players that don't have a position. But at the same time, the game has its play here in college still. You have to have a tremendous presence in the lane at both ends of the floor. And today, that's exactly what we did. We didn't let them have anything in the lane like they had the first 2 times they played us. And we got whatever we wanted in the lane against them. So when you're doing that to people, it's kind of demoralizing a little bit, you know, because they don't want to have to go in there and trap and leave AZ and Lou open. So it was just an all-around great performance by, you know, Aubrey, Leah, and Dorka especially, the three of them. They were terrific.
Yeah, we got time for 3 more. We got back row and then 1 each in the front. We're gonna let them go.
Geno, can you just talk about the defensive intensity of your team? Block shots, steals, they've really, the last couple of days have been on point.
Yeah, you watch enough basketball and you realize that the best team in the country is going to struggle against an average team in the country if they walk the ball up the floor every possession and the final score is going to be 60 to 55. So how do you create opportunities for yourself that don't require the grind of, you know, every screen, every cut, every pass is contested? Well, I think you have to force some turnovers. You have to play great defense and you have to control the boards. And then you need a point guard that pushes the ball up the floor. So all of our offense, all those 81 points came almost directly off of what we were doing defensively. And that wasn't the case towards the end of the season with everybody. That's why our point production went way down. We went from being in the 80s all the time to then we're down in the 60s for 6 or 7 games or whatever it was. And that's because we weren't making anything happen on the defensive end. And that's been a big difference the last 2 days.
Okay, last question here, front right.
Geno, can you give us an update on AZ and Caroline, and are you going to have to manage their minutes coming up the rest of March or tomorrow?
I don't plan to, you know, unless somebody tells me I have to. I don't plan on it. I think these first 2 days were mainly let's get back in the swing of things for AZ. She could have played more minutes today, and maybe if the game was closer, but I just wanted her to get enough, just enough, and then add maybe a little bit more tomorrow, so that when the NCAA tournament comes around, it's not the first time she might have to play 30 minutes. And what really helps is if Aubrey plays the way she played today, then that gives us the luxury of, you know, managing that even better. And with Carol, you know, getting hit yesterday, you know, it all depended on this morning how you feel. And she says she felt pretty good and gave it a shot, and then we'll see how she is tomorrow. But I would expect that by NCAA tournament time, she's going to be just like everybody else. You know, whatever minutes we need her to play, she'll play.